Okay, what if I told you there's a temple, maybe even older than one of India's most sacred cities, and it's just tucked away in this little village? Today, we're going to uncover the secrets of an ancient marvel that's literally been hiding right under our noses. Let's dive in.
So get this. This is the claim that's made about the place we're exploring. A temple greater than Kashi, the ancient city of Varanasi. I mean, that's an incredible statement, right? It immediately makes you wonder, what on earth makes this place so special?
The sheer scale of time here is what's truly mind-boggling. Local history and beliefs say this temple's origins go back a staggering 4,000 years. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is a history that stretches back millennia.
All right, so where exactly is this ancient site? Well, we're heading to the Someshwara Temple, which is in the village of Kolanupaka. We're about to put it on the map for you.
So the temple's in the state of Telangana, about 80 kilometers from the super busy city of Hyderabad. If you were driving, you'd go past towns like Bhuvanagiri and Asila. And you know, Kolanupaka isn't just famous for this one temple. The village is also known for a really renowned and ancient Jain temple. It's a real historic hub.
And to add to the whole mystique, the temple has this deep, deep connection to Yadadri Bhuvanagiri. He's a really revered saint, and local tradition says that he actually came from this very spot, that he emerged from the Shiva lingam right here. You can imagine how much spiritual importance that gives the place.
So what's it actually like to arrive there? What's the first thing you feel, you see, you hear when you step onto these ancient grounds?
As you walk up, you're hit with this grand, imposing entrance. But it's not just the architecture that gets your attention, it's the sound. The trees all around the temple are just teeming with bats, creating this constant kind of eerie chatter that's such a sharp contrast to the silent stone building. It's an instant sign that this place is a wild mix of civilization and nature.
And now we get to the real heart of what makes this temple so incredible. It's not just how old it is, it's what's inside. The idols you find here are frankly unlike anything you see in most other temples across India. So, here's the crucial part. Usually, Lord Shiva is worshipped as a lingam, right? The symbolic form. But here, at Someshwara, he is also shown in a human form. Seeing an idol of Shiva with a physical body is so rare in India. It makes this temple one of the very few places you can ever see a representation like this.
But wait, the surprises do not stop there, not by a long shot. The temple is home to a whole collection of other idols that just totally defy the usual depictions. So what else is this temple hiding?
And the uniqueness just keeps on coming. So look, on the left you see how these deities are normally shown, but at Someshwara you find something totally different. And instead of Lord Hanuman carrying the Sanjivani mountain, here he is holding the sacred Atmalingam. These aren't just little artistic changes, they're profoundly unusual.
Now, you'd think a place with such rare artifacts and this insane history would be a major attraction, and it is. But there's a really strange paradox to its popularity.
I mean, the temple's fame has definitely spread. It pulls in devotees and history buffs from neighboring states like Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. People travel pretty far to come see its wonders.
But here's the twist. For a temple located right in Telangana, there are surprisingly few visitors from the state itself. It's a classic case of a treasure being overlooked by the people who live closest to it. A true gem, hiding in plain sight.
But even after seeing all this, we're still left with way more questions than answers. It seems this temple doesn't give up all its secrets that easily. One of the biggest mysteries is all about its founding saint. I mean, the stories about his origin are fascinating, but the deep history of who he really was and his specific connection to this place, well, that's still a topic of devotion and a lot of debate.
And then there's this absolutely mind-bending artifact. A single lingam that somehow has the carvings of 1,000 others on it. The craftsmanship, the devotion needed to create something like that, it's almost impossible to get your head around. How did they do it? And why?
You know, the Someshwara Temple of Kolanupaka is so much more than just an old building. It's like a puzzle box of history, faith, and incredible art. And maybe its greatest power is that sense of wonder it leaves you with. A powerful reminder that some secrets are still just waiting to be told.
Our story kicks off with a number, and it's a big one, 10 million, or 1 crore. That's how many sacred lingas, the symbolic representations of the Hindu deity Shiva, a king once vowed he would install right here. I mean, talk about an ambitious goal, right?
And you gotta understand, this wasn't just some construction project. Nope. This was a spiritual quest of truly epic proportions. It was a task that was designed to push a whole kingdom and its most talented artisans to their absolute limits.
But as deadlines approach, things can get complicated. When the final day arrived, there was a pretty big problem. The final tally was 9,999,000. They were so close, but they were still 1,000 short of that sacred goal.
So what happens then? What happens when a sacred vow falls just a little bit short? Does the whole thing just fail? Well, the answer to that reveals the temple's very first incredible secret.
Okay, so this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. They were faced with this impossible deadline and an unfulfilled vow. The temple's sculptors had to think fast, and what they came up with was, frankly, genius.
Instead of scrambling to carve 1,000 separate lingas, they came up with this absolutely brilliant solution. They took a single, master lingam, and meticulously carved all 1,000 of the missing lingas right onto its surface.
And get this wasn't just a clever workaround. It was an act of profound devotion. This one single artifact not only fulfilled the king's vow, but also created an object of immense spiritual power. Just one walk around it is like worshipping 1,000 lingas, and it's still an essential feature of the temple to this day.
Now, as incredible as that story is, believe it or not, it's not the only divine tale connected to this place. The actual origin of the temple itself is said to be rooted in a straight-up miracle.
Yeah, so according to local tradition, the legend goes that the sacred site is where the revered saint Jagadguru Renukacharya was born, directly from the main Shiva lingam. This divine origin is really what gives the Someshwara temple its immense spiritual weight.
Now, when a place is that old, it tends to collect things, right? And because of its ancient history, this temple holds yet another surprise. Over all those centuries, it wasn't just collecting stories, it also became a safe house for priceless historical artifacts. In fact, the collection of artifacts got so impressive that back in 1994, the Endowment Board made it official. They designated the temple as a museum to preserve all the treasures housed within its ancient walls.
I love this timeline because it really shows you the layers of history we're talking about. You can see artifacts like idols and stone inscriptions that date all the way from the 10th to the 13th centuries. Each piece tells just one part of this temple's long, amazing story.
Okay, so you've got this amazing story, a unique sacred lingam, a divine origin, and it's literally a museum full of ancient art. You'd think this place would be buzzing with people, right? But what's the reality today?
And this is where we hit a pretty tough reality. The temple's glorious past is in stark contrast with its present. What was once a center for royal vows is now, well, in a dilapidated state. It's home to these incredible legends, but it lacks proper maintenance. And even its sacred pond just sits there, unused.
We have this incredible temple right here in our backyard, but we travel all over the place looking for something just like it. So all of this leaves us with one last really crucial thought. You know, this isn't just about one temple. It's about the living history that surrounds all of us. What is our role in rediscovering and preserving these treasures before they just fade away? It's a question we all need to answer.